Greetings. Earlier this week, I participated in a Twitter chat. For those of you who don't know that, for about an hour, you have moderators on Twitter, and a bunch of people show up, and they have a topic, and then questions are asked, people answer, people respond, people share for that hour on the topic. And sometimes you know a lot about it, and sometimes you don't. But in this particular instance, I knew something about it. The topic was change management. And, you know, we had a lot of discussions on this because we all pretty much recognize that, one, a lot of people aren't used to change. They don't really like it. They get comfortable with it, with whatever they're doing. Now, buying things, that doesn't count. I mean, obviously, there are some people who buy a new iPhone every single year. I've never understood that kind of thing because I know how expensive it is. But, you know, that kind of change we're not talking about. We're talking about change in environment. Like, no one really wants to move out of their house or apartment every single year. No one wants to get a new job every single year. You like to basically settle in and get comfortable. However, what happens when things change at work? How do your employees handle that? How do you, if you're a leader, help them to get through something like this? I know a lot of people who are in leadership positions who basically say, look, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to tell you where you're going to go, and that's how it's going to happen. And unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily work all that well. There's a lot of people who decide, you know what, I'm not putting up with this, and they leave. And one of the worst things in the world is having to rehire new people, especially when the people you have are pretty good. So that's a lousy thing to do. One of the biggest changes I've had to make at work, and I've done this a lot, by the way, but one of the changes I had to do many, many years ago is I was a director at a hospital, and they decided that they wanted to move us out of the hospital into a space so that they could take one of the areas where some of my people were and convert it to something else. I'm not even going to get into that right now. So what this meant is that we had to move. And what they did is they took kind of an abandoned commercial space where there used to be a big store there, and someone had gutted the whole thing out. And so they had me and my supervisors go down to this space, and I'm not the most visual person in the world. I'm just going to tell you that. But we had this big empty space. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do with this? And what we had to do was decide how we were going to section things out. The people who owned the building said that they would break it out into offices for us if we just told them what we needed. So we decided we were going to have this one department, you know, kind of up front, where if patients needed to come in to talk about their bills or whatever, they would meet those people first. Then we would have like different billing people in different places. We had to have you don't even have anything like this anymore, but you know, we had to have a big file room, so we needed to move a lot of our records from the hospital down to where we were. I had to have my office. I had to have my secretary have an office. Imagine that, I had a secretary. And we had to have bathrooms built. And so what we did first was we sketched out the general plan. So I was the furthest away from the front, although we had a back door, you know, because you had to have two ways to get out of the building. But we had, you know, that, and we basically kind of plotted everything. Then I did something that I don't know almost anyone else would have done. I would hope that they would do it, but I don't know. I took different groups of the employees, everybody, to come down, look at the office, look at the space where we were going to be. I wanted them to give some of their input. So we wanted to tell them what we were looking to do, and then we wanted their input as to whether they agreed with our ideas. Now, we could have just basically set it up and they wouldn't have had any say in the matter, but this was going to be drastic. I mean, we were going to move out of this comfortable area where some of those people would work for 20 years and put them in a new environment. And it was not going to be as solid as working in a hospital. If you've ever been in a hospital, you'll notice that the walls are pretty solid. It's kind of a quiet place. Even in areas where it's a little noisier than normal, it's kind of a quiet place. But in here, they weren't going to be making really thick walls. They're going to put up the kind of walls you get in a lot of apartments where, you know, if you've got the folks right next door, you can kind of hear them. And, you know, where people are always screaming, hey, turn that stuff down. That's what we were going to have. We weren't going to have to worry about anyone below us, but, you know, we were going to have some offices that were going to be a lot larger than others, and so we wanted input from everyone else. And in general, they agreed with our ideas. Some of them made a couple of changes, which was a good idea. For instance, at the time, I was going to be the only male down there. So I didn't think we needed a real big bathroom, but they said, well, you're not going to be the only one at some point. You're going to have visitors who are going to come in. We might end up with another man. So they built that bathroom a little bigger. That was nice. But then the woman's bathroom, we actually decided to have two, and we made them bigger. So we had two that had stalls in them, and then we had a couple of bathrooms put up front. That wasn't anything that me or the supervisors thought of, so that was pretty cool. And then when it was time to move, everyone was a little bit more comfortable because they'd had a say. They got to participate. They knew where we were going to be. And for some of them, they were going to be closer to home, so they were happy. I mean, it's not like it was a big city that anyone was driving 40 or 50 minutes away, except for me. But everyone else, you know, once they saw where they were, they realized that they could go out for lunch now, because it was hard to do it from the hospital, but there were a few fast food restaurants that were close, so they could go out or they could order something and may have just one person go and get it, and they were happy. And really, whenever you're going to have change, it's better to get everybody engaged and let everyone have a say, or at least let them know what's going to happen. I wanted them to see it. I wanted them to offer their opinion. It was something that we had to do. This was not a choice. And truthfully, no one was necessarily upset about leaving the hospital except me, because I still had some other employees who worked at the hospital. So I had to go back and forth. But you know what? I got used to that. So how, if you're a leader, do you try to make change easier for your employees, no matter what it is? I'd like to know your thoughts on that. My name is Mitch Mitchell. If you like something like this, please like the thing, comment, subscribe, because I do these at least once every 2 weeks. I try to do weekly, but I can't guarantee that. And hit that bell if you want to get notified. I talk about leadership and management, diversity, work stuff, communications, employees, diversity. Like I think I mentioned diversity already. Let me know. Y'all have a great day.